Game started.
Oh, Bobby F. 1970 from Spain. Let's see. Yeah, I think E4 is white. Is what I'm due to play. Center counter. Or Scandinavian defense. And the knight move. That's the way I play it with the knight move. Knight f6. Yeah, so you have to... it's best to let him take the pawn back rather than trying to hold on to it. So I think you just develop normally. He can pin the knight. You can unpin with bishop e2. And then you have to worry about this pawn a little bit, because at any time he could trade and remove one defender. But currently it's twice defended, and there's one attacker here, the queen, but the other knight is not yet attacking it. So I could throw in c4 here, kick that knight. And he could play knight to f4 because of the bishop move, bishop d6, kind of an interesting move. I could, on the other hand, just play knight to e5. Bishop takes, pawn takes is okay for me. And the knight won't have this f4 square, and I'm threatening his bishop. So he would probably play bishop takes here, then bishop takes there. Needs to do something because I'm double attacking his bishop. So a pawn on e5 is not the end of the world for black, but it gives white a lot of space. And without the dark squared bishop, I can play a move like f4 to support it pretty safely. Just have to worry about queen checks on this diagonal. And I have my own dark squared bishop if he decides to trade for the knight. Yeah, so trading there first makes sense. That's attacking the queen, so I have to retake. Now this d pawn is potentially loose, but he's still got a couple of pieces in between the queen and that pawn. And if he develops the knight, I can play just c3. Might still be able to play c4. Have to look at that if the situation arises. Okay, but he decides to take. I was sort of expecting that. So now this knight, I can kick it with c4, and it can't get to f4. It could go to b4, but I'm not... Am I worried about that? It's a little bit annoying. Okay, c4, knight b4, a3, and then knight here. Well, the queen's guarding that square. So let's go ahead and kick it. Kick it while I can. I was worried about him attacking my rook that's trapped in the corner there, but as long as the queen is covering the c2 square, this should be okay. He can go to d3, of course. And I'll just develop my bishop then. Maybe bishop to d3 and f4. Oh, he wants to trade queens. Do I don't have to trade queens, but I would have to defend my queen. So if I take the knight, queen takes queen, it's no good. Queen takes queen, knight here, and then I move the bishop, and he wins a little pawn over here. So it's probably better for me to defend the queen. So I could play knight c3, queen takes queen, knight takes queen, knight c3 still. I mean, knight d3 is still an annoying move. Defending with the rook. Not so happy. I could play queen to d2. Queen takes, bishop takes, and he's still got knight there. So better to defend with the rook, right? Queen takes, rook takes, and at least the knight is not coming into c2. And now I'm threatening to take his knight, so he has to do something. If he goes here, I'll take his queen. If knight c2, then queen takes queen. Queen takes queen, and rook takes queen, guarding c2. And now he has to move the knight. He could go to d3. We're back there. Okay, well, that's good. Gives me time to develop a knight. Maybe bishop f4 instead of pawn f4 is better. Well, if he's going to attack it with pieces, I should probably defend it with a pawn. He doesn't have a piece that can check along this diagonal, so I can play bishop to d3. Where is he going? Now he goes there. He can go to b3 or to c2. Okay, knight b3, rook b1. Yeah, and then where's the other knight going? He can take the bishop now, and if he doesn't take it, I'll move it, because I like that bishop. If he does take it, I'm still okay, I think, because I have my pieces all developed now. And a little more space. Very small advantage, though. I'll have to win it in the end game, I guess. If he wants to do that, that's okay. So now I can go here. He has knight to d3, hitting my rook. Knight to d3 hits the rook, but I can drop my rook back to f1, and knight to d2, forking the two rooks doesn't work because the bishop guards that square. And then where are these knights going? He's got these squares, these squares, these squares, these squares. Certainly the knights are being very annoying, I have to admit that. Let's see, I can play rook to d1, but he can defend it just as well. So how would this work? Rook d1, oh, he decides to go there. Okay, is he hitting anything new? Let's kick it. I don't like those knights swarming around in my position. Can't go back here because the rook guards it. He can't go to this square because the knight guards it and that square. So he goes back to here or here. Probably. But this is a mistake. Rook, knight d7 allows rook d1. So that means he has to go to the corner, chase that knight all the way back to the corner. And this knight is then trapped. Okay, so I think I'm winning a piece here. His adventurous knights have got him into trouble. He has no way, the knights cannot be defended, right? The knight would have to go to one of these squares, here or here. C5 or E5 in order to defend the other knight, and they're both guarded. So definitely lost some material at this point. Yeah, he gets 2 pawns for the knight. Better than nothing. And he's hitting this pawn, so I don't want to lose another pawn. But I could play bishop f4, knight takes, bishop takes. I don't like that. I would rather save the pawn. You want to keep as many pawns as possible and use your extra material to slowly win black's pawns. But you don't want your pawns to get decimated and end up in some drawish endgame where you don't have enough material to win because you've given up all your pawns. Okay, so he's deciding whether to trade or not. He can always take first because it's with check, and then move the knight. I can move the knight first. So I'll grab here. If I grab here, he can take, I can take, and then he can take here. This allows me to simplify, though. Maybe this will be good enough.
Check.
So if rook takes, I can play rook to I can play rook to a1, and then the knight moves. He can't go here. He can go here or here, and then I can play bishop or knight. Maybe knight. Knight to b5 and just put more pressure on that a pawn. So he goes after the rook immediately. Okay. And attacking the pawn. I should have noticed that when I was talking about where his knight could go. His knight can go here, here, here. 1, 2, 3. 3 moves for the knight. Okay, so I think bishop here is good. You want to anchor your pieces. Keep the rook bottled up too. So knight b5, a6, knight c7. I don't know if it's going anywhere from c7. It might just knight b5, a6, maybe just back. Oh, he goes after that pawn. So he's left his a pawn undefended. And if he takes, I take. So this has got to be good for me, right? Oh, he can take here. So knight takes b4. What do I play? Rook. Rook c7 maybe? Threatening mate. Takes, takes, pawn takes. Yeah, it's one of those ugly scenarios. Okay, I took that way. Yeah, might have been better for him to take the other pawn. This allows me to defend. His rook was pinned to the back rank, though. At any time when the rook moves, I can play rook to a8, threatening to mate the king. Okay, moved his knight to there. Here. Okay, so check there. If I move the knight away. I think I want to move my knight in because I would like to clear a path for my passed pawn. Now let's eliminate this rook first. I think now I have enough pawns that I'm not worried about losing them all, and I have a tremendous time advantage here too at this point. He can't really afford the luxury of another knight move. He's got to take or move his rook. Yeah, he can move his rook. That's interesting. Okay, my knight is guarding the a2 square, so he can't check me. And maybe I'll just come up and harass his knight. And help my pawn promote. Okay, he got his knight out of there right away. That does stop me from yeah, interesting. Okay, let's go here. What I'm planning is just a rook there, check, forcing an exchange. He's run out of time here.
Black forfeits on time.
Okay. So that was an interesting position earlier. When I took here, pawn takes, rook takes, he could have played knight takes. And now this pawn is pinned. If I play pawn takes, he can grab my knight. So, I guess I would play rook over still. Anyway, yeah, let's look at that in the postmortem. So, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.